Hey, it's Armin with Attract. At Attract Advisors, we offer accounting advisory, tax advisory, as well as financial management services. We're lucky enough to work with very many hardworking, talented entrepreneurs across many different industries. Many of these individuals are world-class in their sphere and have great stories to tell. This is our way of highlighting their accomplishments and their insights, and we hope you enjoy these conversations.
Welcome back, everybody, to our next episode of Kickin Assets. Today, I am very happy to be joined by my friend and fellow entrepreneur, Cory Couture. Cory, along with his partner in life and business partner, Anna, are the owners of Trifecta Sports Therapy. They've been around in Baton Rouge for a long time, and I'm really excited to dive in more to their story as to where they've come from, what they've been able to accomplish, and where they're headed in the future. So, Cory, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man.
So take me back, okay? Early life of Cory. You know, you mentioned off camera that you grew up in Patterson, Louisiana. So I don't even really know where the biggest city around there is. Maybe Lake Charles. I'm not sure. Am I completely wrong there?
No.
Tell me about Patterson.
So, man, small town, St. Mary Parish. Morgan City is the closest town most people would recognize. But for us, yeah, like going to the mall, we'd go to Homa. Or Lafayette was like the big one, you know. But yeah, it's South Louisiana, around the coast. 400 people, you know, in my high school total. Graduated less than 100 kids in our class. So you know, it was kind of small town living, but good stuff. You know, great people there.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in a small town? I mean, athletics, I'm sure, were important to you. You know, you're an entrepreneur now. And so like any early signs of entrepreneurship and how were you able to manage like going to school, having friends, extracurricular stuff and stuff like that?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, athletics has always been a major part of my life. It's been a huge interest for me. My dad was a coach, high school coach. He coached football and basketball. He was a teacher and then eventually became like a principal. So he was principal or assistant principal at high school when I was at Patterson High School. So I always been drawn to athletics. I never, you know, that's kind of been our story as maybe as we kind of work through this. Like I had a previous career and as an athletic trainer before we got into Trifecta Sports Therapy now. So I didn't have a lot of entrepreneurial like experience or, you know, my dad worked for the school board. My mom did too. We didn't have a big history of entrepreneurship where I grew up. So to find it ourselves now is pretty interesting. But I mean, it was great. Patterson's a great place. We've always had really good football teams. I played as many sports as I could play, many sports I could. My dad played college golf at Southeastern, so he's a fellow Lion. And yeah, man. Always was centered around sports, you know, growing up.
And did you have siblings or cousins like in that small town that you kind of came up with, or was it mostly friends?
Yeah, I have a younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. He played sports as well. He's an artist now. He's a digital artist, so he was really creative. But we played a lot of sports. We played a lot of golf together. I got a really good group of friends that I still keep in touch with, you know, from back then. We were all played football and baseball together and all that. So.
And so after you left Patterson, did you go to LSU or like what was your college experience like?
Yeah, I did. I went to LSU and I had a friend whose older brother was in the athletic training program, like the student program at LSU. And I knew I wanted to do something in sports. I was interested in healthcare, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. So right when I got to LSU, like first month of school, I went into the Broussard athletic training room and kind of started that. You had to volunteer, you know, you volunteered for the first year. Started that program and just rotated. You got placed at a sport and you rotated each semester to a different sport. And you were kind of just a student assistant for the certified athletic trainer at that sport. And I loved it. I stayed, you know, so I stayed into that program. Anna was in that program as well. That's where I met my wife, Anna. And yeah, that was a big part. So I majored in kinesiology. Athletic training was the concentration. And I first started off with men's basketball program, did 2 seasons with them. and then did football and women's tennis. And the things have kind of changed a little bit. Back then, the student had a lot more responsibility. So when I worked with tennis, I was kind of like making decisions, and I was kind of a senior student at that point. So I was able to make a lot of decisions, which got me a lot of experience that, I used kind of later on.
Mm-hmm. And so at what point of like the LSU athletic saga was that? Because, 25 years ago, before, let's just say, Saban came and, Bertman was on the back half of his career, and obviously, there's other sports. Basketball kind of had great years and down years. Like, what was the LSU athletic scene look like when you were there?
That's a great question. So Nick Saban had just come in. He had just started. I think this was, so my freshman year was his first season. So when I finally got to work football as kind of like the dedicated student for that, where you would stay for the whole season, was in 2003. So it was my senior year, did that and tennis. So that was the national championship year. Mm-hmm. So, we got to kind of see like the beginning of that football program, the kind of the turnaround. I remember like we beat Tennessee maybe in overtime my freshman year, and like everybody rushed the field. So we were like, I ran out there on the field and all that stuff. And then, by my senior year, like national championship, great team and all that. So that was a pretty cool thing to experience. Basketball program was solid. John Brady was the coach. We made it to the NCAA tournament year I was there. Baseball was kind of in kind of the middle period. Like Skip had retired. Mm-hmm. Smoke was the coach. And they made it to Omaha while I was there, but didn't have the championships that they had before, and Coach Maneri brought back. But man, so many experiences.
Yeah,
I got to be into that.
And a lot of like my experience in college was similar in that, I didn't know at the time, but I was like learning from osmosis from winners. A lot of there's been a lot of news lately about, what's happening with the SEC football coaches. And I always like to remind whoever listens to this podcast, which I don't know if there's many of you, but to remind people, like whenever I was in college, Pete Golding, who's now the DC now the head coach at Ole Miss, was the DC when I was at Southeastern. And then Ron Roberts, who's now the DC at Arkansas, he was my head coach. Wow. And then the guy they brought in now as DC, at Ole Miss, Patrick Toney, was my graduate assistant. And then my position coach was this guy named Carl Scott, who worked under Saban for a few years, and now he's the DB coach at the Seattle Seahawks. And so I was able to learn through osmosis what winning looked like. And, these guys' careers have really spoken for themselves. And, I give a lot of credit to the lessons that I learned when I was there as it relates to holding people accountable and being a good leader and, making sound decisions and trying to like separate the emotion from the fact of it. And I take it that you probably, being around so many winners, were able to, glean a lot of those skills just by osmosis, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's a great point. And I've been super blessed and fortunate to be around just amazing people like that. One of my biggest mentors is a guy named Jack Marucci. He was the head athletic trainer at LSU when I came in as a student and did the whole program. And of course, he started Marucci Bat Company in his backyard, and a lot of people know that story. But he was the head trainer, so he athletic trainer. He was the one that communicated with Coach Saban, and Coach Saban was demanding that we were doing everything we could to make sure our team was as healthy as possible. So there was a lot of Jack handled all that so well, because he didn't just do like what he always did, like he had a desire to learn more, to test out the new technology, when a lot of people in sports at that time, and even before that, were like, you kind of hear it in baseball, like the old dinosaurs of baseball, like the Moneyball comes and changed everything. But they wanted to just do it the way it's always been done, because it's the way we always did it. And Jack didn't have that mentality. He would bring in new technology or new modalities, or be more aggressive in a rehab. that maybe people have done before, or even push doctors to maybe think of things in a different way to provide better care, not in a dangerous way, but in a more successuple way.
And innovative.
In an innovative way, great.
Yeah, I can remember when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, and he came back in like 6 months or something like that, and everybody was like, "Man, that speed of recovery had never been, it was unheard of."
Yeah.
And I can only imagine the work that athletic trainers were putting in at that time, because around that time there's just a spread of more information, right? With the internet and these conferences and like kind of the world becoming a much smaller place, it's much easier to collaborate. And so, it's really interesting how in an industry such as athletic training, which you don't really think of as, one that is necessarily motivated to change, other than the fact of wins and losses. It's not like a business that's trying to it's not like a light bulb business or a candle business that's trying to fight against a light bulb business, like change, like adapt or die. Whereas like athletic training, it's like win, how can we adapt and win more? Right. And, so for someone to take that same approach to, something that a lot of people just overlook, they're worried about the wins and losses, but how did we get the athletes back on the field to basically have those wins and losses more wins, less losses come about? Man, that's interesting. So you're at LSU, Jack Marucci's your mentor, and then, you kind of went on this, what I think is like an epic journey of like a bunch of different internships and early access to what have become like some really storied organizations. So what was that like for you, and kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, no, I was again super blessed. Just like the community that I kind of found myself in was amazing, and a lot of opportunities came up. So one of the first things was a summer internship while I was still at LSU with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Jack helped me, interview for that spot, and I got accepted. And essentially, I went to Tampa. I mean, I grew up in Patterson. He's like, I talked to the head athletic trainer, and he calls me, offers me this job. He was like, 250 people applied for this job. We picked you. Don't let us down. I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. All right, hope I won't. So I go home and I'm packing everything. So you go for training camp. You go to Tampa. I kind of help them pack up. We did training camp at Disney World in Orlando at the time. So you basically just pack the whole athletic training room, the whole football facility gets packed up, move it over to Disney World, unpack, and then you do all the training camp, which at that time was like a lot of 2-a-days, a lot of practice, and then you pack it all. You do all the preseason games, and you pack it all up, and you go back, and then we go back to Baton Rouge and go to college again. Go to the fall semester. So I remember like packing up and looking. I didn't have a phone, so I'm looking at MapQuest to try to get to Tampa, and I'm thinking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, the name of the town's Tampa Bay, so I'm like looking up Tampa Bay, Florida. I can't find it on the map because I don't know any better, So I realized, all right, you're an idiot. You got to go to Tampa. So yeah, it was amazing though. Like that team ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. John Gruden was a coach. It was his first year as a coach. And you talk about like a coaching tree and assistants, like there was like, who's the name of the Steelers coach that just retired?
Mike Tomlin was,
he was on that staff. Jay Gruden was on the staff. There was like 3 NFL head coaches on the staff at that time. Herm Edwards had just left. And Monty Kiffin was on that staff. The defense was ridiculous. Warren Sapp and John Lynch, Derek Brooks, Ronnie Barber. It was amazing. I found myself in the middle of that, as like a 19-year-old kid, just soaking it all in. But just put my head down, and worked as hard as I could. The athletic trainer's great. He become a mentor too. His name is Todd Torselli. He's still working. And I learned a ton. And it's all about, man, just being reliable and like showing the people that you care, that you care about the work you're doing, and putting your effort into it. And it's crazy what things can happen. But yeah, it was cool, man. That was a really cool experience. So I got asked to do that again. So I did it again the next summer. And that summer they had the preseason. They used to do preseason games overseas. So we had a game scheduled in Tokyo against the Jets, and like it was one of the preseason games. So they only took like 2 interns. There's like 6 interns that do the summer internship. So I got to go to that because it was my second year. So I flew to Tokyo with the Buccaneers, for a football game.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think of. I still wasn't even 21. I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
Experiencing all that. We're on this big double-decker chartered plane and flew 20-something hours. And here we are in the Tokyo Dome, in the Tokyo Dome Hotel. And it was amazing. We got to walk around and try to get lost on the subway system, come back. And it was cool, super cool. So that was, all that came from just kind of being in a great community. The opportunity came from that, and just kind of working hard and putting your head down and going. So yeah.
So you make it back to LSU, and eventually graduate. And what did that your first job or couple jobs out of LSU look like?
So after LSU was grad school, so that's Florida State. Got an intern or a graduate assistant position while I worked on my master's at Florida State. So that was with the football team. Again, Jack had helped me get that role as well. But yeah, Bobby Bowden was the coach. They had been on a streak of like consecutive top 10 finishes. It's like ridiculous, They're coming off the success of that. And at that time, we my 2 years, we didn't win the league. Well, actually, we did win it the first year. The second year, we didn't. It was a 2-year position. But yeah, we started to kind of fall off a little bit. But it was a great experience. It was cool to be around Bobby Bowden. What an incredible human, really faith-based man. He knew our names, all the GAs. He'd say hi to us every day. He didn't have to. The program was big enough. There's so many people that he knew our name was pretty impressive. And just really talented football players that we were working around. Great athletic training staff. Met a bunch of really cool doctors, and just more of those like crazy experiences that I would have never imagined that you find yourself in. We played in the Orange Bowl my second year, and we played against Penn State in the Orange Bowl. So it was Bobby Bowden against Joe Paterno, and they're both kind of at the end of their careers. And like the tunnel to go to the locker room was the same tunnel for both teams. So at halftime, everybody's piling in there, and Joe Paterno was like behind us, and he's just like yelling and like pushing people out the way. He's just like bullying people to get into the locker room. It's just a surreal moment.
Yeah,
oh my God.
What a legend.
Yeah, he's tall. He was crazy tall. That was amazing. So that was some really cool experiences at Florida State. Met a lot of really good friends, friends that would be mentors, and I ended up making it back to Florida State later as a staff member. But yeah, that was cool. I left Florida State. I got a year-long internship this time. This was with the Carolina Panthers. I'm still not a full-time employee yet, but this was cool. So one of the interns that I worked with at Tampa Bay was now a full-time staff member with Carolina. So his job was to find all the interns. So he got me on as a year-long intern. So you don't just do summer; you're actually there for the whole the entire year. So you show up in May or April or so, and you go through the draft. You go through like June school, which is kind of where everybody comes and works out, and there's practices, but it's not like 2-a-days and all that. And then you go to training camp, you do all the 2-a-days, preseason, and you come back, and then you do the entire season. And then you do all-season surgeries, rehabs, prepping for the draft. So you get to experience the whole cycle of the NFL, life, which was amazing. That was a really cool experience. I really enjoyed it. The difference was that it's a smaller kind of community. There's like 56 to 60 players or so, versus college, you're over 100 players. In training camp in the NFL, it's more, there's 80 or 90 or so. But once you get into the season, it's a smaller kind of knitted group, and you spend a ton of hours together. So you get to experience all these cool things. Yeah, and went through the whole season with them. there's a lot of cool perks that come along with being around, NFL players.
Sure.
Got to go to basketball games, experience that, and NBA, like courtside seats and all. It's just crazy stuff. I don't do that now, of course, but you find yourself in these situations. It's like just mind blowing, really.
So where was Anna through all this? Did she kind of follow you in your different stops, or y'all kind of distanced it, or what?
Yeah, so we never actually started dating until later. So we didn't date at LSU. When we were in grad school is when we kind of started a long distance relationship. So when I was at Florida State, she was at Southern Miss. That's where she went to grad school. And so we kind of started a long-term relationship. So I left LSU, went to Charlotte with the Panthers. Anna got hired on at LSU as a full-time softball athletic trainer. So Jack hired Anna back. So we did long-term relationship there. So, she would come visit and all that stuff. But so we had a distance, long distance relationship basically for a good part of our early stages in our relationship. So I finished at Carolina. That was a little bit over a year stint. My first real job was with Loyola University in New Orleans. So I moved back to Louisiana, and Anna and I got married at that point. So I was a head athletic trainer at Loyola for 4 years, which was really cool and exactly what I needed. We didn't have a football program, but we had, it was like 10 other teams or so, all had their own head coaches, and me and another guy I worked with were in charge of kind of handling all those student athletes. So at that point, I had to be the one to make decisions, refer to doctors, come up with rehab protocols, communicate to the coaches, communicate to the parents, all the stuff that really is the nuts and bolts of what an athletic trainer does and how it can affect those patients and the teams. So I got a big dose of experience of that. Whereas before, as an intern, you're not really making those decisions. You're there doing a lot of the work, doing the hands-on stuff, but nothing's relying on what you decide. So it was cool I needed that experience. So that was great. We got married at that stage.
Mm-hmm. And did you bounce around a little bit more before Trifecta? What was that kind of period like between, getting married, your first full-time gig, you're the top dog, and ultimately to where, you guys are today?
Yeah. So still a couple more stops.
Yeah.
I got offered the job at Florida State, a full-time job with the baseball team and the golf team, men's golf team. And I've always loved golf. My dad played college golf, like I said. So that was cool. So, but we had just got married. So it was a decision, Anna was have to give up her spot at LSU to move to Tallahassee for me to be able to take that. So it was a long conversation, but she was willing to do that. So I left Loyola, moved to Tallahassee, but Anna likes to tell this story. She had already kind of started the school year, so we got married in July, and the job came up around September. So she had already kind of started the year at LSU with the softball team, and she wanted to finish it, So and my job started in September in Tallahassee, and we were newlyweds. We just been married a couple months. So I moved to Tallahassee, and she stayed here until that school year was done. So we even had a long distance first year of marriage. But it was great. She had a great season that year. They went to the College World Series, the Women's College World Series, the softball team. And then my first year at Florida State with baseball team, we went to the Men's College World Series. So. And they were like a week apart. So Anna finished hers, packed everything, moved to Tallahassee, got on a plane with us, and went to the Men's College World Series. So she did both of them. That was cool. But yeah, so we spent 4 years in Tallahassee. And it was amazing. It was a great experience. Mike Martin was the head baseball coach at Florida State, and he's a legend. Mm-hmm. He's the all-time winningest college coach in any sport. He's won more games than any college coach in any sport.
Wow.
and just a great man, great mentor. He was a golfer as well, so we connected on that. We played golf a bunch, and I learned a lot from him on how to be a leader, how to treat people, how to be compassionate. You know, he was a faith-filled man as well, so how to treat people with love and be patient. You know, that was a really, really cool experience. My really good friend, his name's Jake File. He's the head athletic trainer for the Atlanta Falcons, but he was the baseball athletic trainer at Florida State before I got offered that job. And he ended up leaving that team to go over to the football team. So Jimbo Fisher was the new coach there. So he got Jake to move from baseball to football, which opened up that spot for me.
Oh, wow.
So I got to be around them. I got to meet Jimbo a good bit because he was a baseball fan. And then golf, which you know, a big part of my life now is golf.
Yeah.
I got to experience the golf program at Florida State, which was great. Brooks Koepka was on the team.
Wow.
You know, he's a superstar now. There was a couple other PGA players there at the time, so I got to work with all those guys, and just loved it. Learned a lot about the body and how the body affects the golf swing, and learned kind of the strategies for injury prevention and performance enhancement through golf and rotational athletes, which helped with baseball as well. So it was just kind of in an environment and community that, you know, was able to learn a lot of cool stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing. And then so to getting back to the path, like I got a call from Jack Marucci, and he was like, "Hey, I think our baseball athletic trainer's leaving. You know, if he does, like, are you interested?" You know, I'm like, "Oh man, like, of course, like that's a dream job." You know, I grew up loving LSU, watching all the World Series with Skip and all that. So I'm like, man, of course, you know. But at the same time, we had a great life in Tallahassee. We had great friends and great house. You know, it was great. But the timing wasn't awesome. It was like December, and baseball season starts in February. So it was kind of a tough time to leave the program, but made the decision to come back. And Coach Martin was great about it. I mean, he knew that family's here, and we want to start a family. You know, it was important to have our families around us to help. So he knew I was coming home. You know, so he was supportive of that. But yeah, got the job here. It was the same thing, baseball and golf, same deal at LSU. And this was 2014, and Coach Maneri was the coach, and Chuck Winstead's the golf coach. He's been both of those guys are good friends of me now, friends of us, are good friends for us now. And yeah, started that journey. And Anna came back, you know, and to kind of get into Trifecta, like how that came about, like. So Anna, when she moved to Tallahassee, she didn't really have a job. You know, she had given up her job at LSU and was looking kind of for stuff. She worked for some of the doctors here and there. She did a few things that just didn't stick. She did some like medical sales. She didn't like it. And she was so talented too. And that was kind of hard for me. I carried a little bit of that because she's such a talented person, and she just didn't find her niche there, you know. But one day she had this revelation. She was like, you know, I want to go to massage therapy school. I want to get a massage license. I was like, oh, interesting. I was like, I wouldn't have thought that. And she's like, yeah, I just want to be able to do the treatments that I was doing before as an athletic trainer, you know, but just for whoever, you know, on my own. And she's like, I can do that. And there was a great massage therapy school in Tallahassee. It just so happened. So she went through that program, and then finished it, and then was able to kind of do some training at Florida State with some of the athletes. She worked on the football team, some of the baseball players and all that. And so then when we came back to Baton Rouge and I got the job at LSU, she started Trifecta as like a one-man massage therapy, you know, just Anna. She rented an office, you know, from a place in town that a friend had recommended, and just kind of went to grind it, you know. She'd go to like the Louisiana Marathon with a table and set up a tent, and she'd do a lot of events like that, and just built up her clientele like through hard work. And we obviously had a great relationship with the crew at LSU. So she was able to work on a lot of the LSU athletes, and just be around the community in Baton Rouge. Some of that stemmed from LSU, but some of it just through like meeting people and Anna, I mean, her personality is just through the roof.
Yeah.
It's like God given. She's just such a flower. And so that's been a big part of our story, is just the community that we've been able to be around. So Trifecta grew. So she added another therapist and then another therapist. And when they'd come on, she'd help strum up some business for them. And eventually, there's like 4 or 5 therapists and in this kind of smaller office. And I'm still working with baseball. At that time, I'm doing the books for her, which you'd probably laugh at, but it's just an Excel sheet. It was kind of simple back then. And I'm trying to help her out, kind of grow the business. We had a fantastic business consultant, Kendall Jufrey. She got connected with Anna early on and really kind of helped her come up with the vision of what Trifecta could be and start to really kind of take the steps to put all that in place. And, all the while I'm kind of working with the baseball team and doing the golf and all that. So yes, all credit to Anna, and with a lot of help from Kendall. I mean, she started Trifecta and really had a vision of being able to provide like the care that we did in the training room, or that we do in the athletic training room, hands-on care to everybody. And that still kind of holds true to what our services are today. And it's been great. It's been really, really good.
So what was that startup grind like, for Anna, and then you kind of secondarily, especially I think at that point you guys were starting a family and kids and all of that, like balancing that out as young entrepreneurs, like what was that like?
Yeah, great point. Yeah, we just had kids. So we have 3 kids now. And really cool thing we have as well is Anna's sister, Becky, and her husband, Derek, live next door to us. And they have 3 girls. We got 3 boys. So we've kind of had this little community, together, that we've been able to help each other out. And but at one point we had 6 kids in diapers. This is like one family, four adults and 6 kids, and 4 jobs, and you just figure it out. You don't, whatever plans you make, like, it's not going to work. So you just figure it out, and that as good as anybody with your family. So we just figured it out when we just had a great community around us, and that would help us out when we needed it. Yeah. And you just go and try to make it happen.
Yeah. So how long did you end up staying at LSU full time?
9 seasons. I did 9 seasons with baseball, golf. And I'm still doing golf, but I did 9 seasons with baseball. So it was just under 10 years as a full-time staff member. And then the kids were getting older, and the demands of that job were growing, rightfully so, as you see, like the demands of college sports is getting bigger and more money and more specialization. There's a lot more. Jay Johnson came in. I worked 1 season with him, and he's an incredibly talented coach who's just a relentless worker. And, it was awesome. It's a beautiful thing. You can see why he has the success he has now. Nobody's going to outwork him. Nobody's going to find a better way to do it, because he's going to put the work in to figure it out. But I had reached a point where, like, more important for me was to try to find some more family available at the time. Yeah. So I made a decision that I was going to try to step away from that, and I was going to join Trifecta full time and really help Anna. Had gotten to a point where there was some of just the operations of the business that may not have been her strong suit that she's been doing for so long, that's kind of wearing her down, So there's a role that maybe I could jump in and help her out, so she can kind of focus on stuff she does well, be out in the community, build our partnerships, train our therapists, and just serve people more, So that's where that kind of rooted from. And as a provider, like I've been able to learn so much in the golf world that I was kind of opening up the service of doing like golf performance training. So with that, like, I was able to. LSU was so good to me. They were so good to me that they allowed me to not be a full-time member of the staff anymore, but have a contract through our business to still serve as an athletic trainer for the golf programs. which really has never happened before. They kind of went on a limb and created that for me. So I was super appreciative of that. The coaches were fantastic, and kind of administration and the staff of athletic trainers we all kind of came together and was like, okay, how can this look? And we figured it out. So now I still work. I get to work with them. I'm going to practice today. I'm going to U Club today to go golf team practice and work on the athletes. And so that's kind of was my role early on, was starting that golf service and then kind of helping Anna with operations.
Mm-hmm. So Trifecta today, there's somebody who moves to Baton Rouge and the friend of theirs says, oh, well, you guys should go to Trifecta. And if that person says, well, what exactly is Trifecta? How would you respond?
Yeah, great question. And the answer is probably not as easy as it should be in a business. But, we kind of fit in between physical therapy and traditional massage therapy. We're neither one of those, but we fit in the middle. We have talented massage therapists, and we offer bodywork sessions. So they look kind of like a massage, but they're a little more therapeutic or orthopedic or sports natured. We utilize a lot of tools. So there's instrument assisted tool work, the suction cups. There's always a degree of stretching involved in your service. It's a little more outcome based versus what you imagine as a spa. But we fit for people that value movement and just want to feel good and move good. They may not be injured to the point where they have to go to physical therapy on a regular basis, but they want to stay optimum in whatever activity they do. And that's the service that we provide. And Anna and Kendall came up with a membership model. And so we call it a maintenance program. So you can get from 1 to 4 60-minute bodywork sessions a month, and you can even add to that. But your prices get discounted when you do that, and you get recurring care. For people that really see the value of the constant and consistent body work, and feeling better at whatever activity you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a pretty robust recovery service system too, right? What does recovery look like for you guys?
Yeah, we do. So we have a bunch of different tools. We have sauna, we have an infrared, we have a couple of infrared saunas, which have been great. There's a lot of really great research on saunas. They've been really popular lately too. We have infrared sauna, we have the cold plunge, we have compression therapy, which are like the Normatec boots. We have some Recoup boots. They're intermittent compression boots. We've added recently red light therapy, PEMF therapy. We have a hyperbaric chamber now. We have vibration therapy. We have some vibration mats that are really cool. There's some research coming out on that. It's really, really pretty interesting. So yeah, we're trying to be as well-rounded, I guess, as possible in patient care. So recovery is such a huge part of everyday life, for everybody. So yeah, a lot of services. So a challenge for us is to try to figure out how all that fits into some of our offers, for the customers. But we have memberships for that, and we're coming up with some new stuff, some new tech and some new offers, for this year as well.
And then I know innovation, as you just mentioned, is whether it's a real core value or not, it's something that I see that you guys are, really on the cutting edge of. And, you and I were talking a little off camera about, some of the measuring tools and the data that you're able to glean from, a certain visit or a bodywork session or what have you that helps, a patient see their progress instead of just feeling a little bit different and not really knowing if it worked or not. So can you dive into that part a bit?
Yeah, right on. Yeah, for sure. So we have a new piece of tech. It's a camera that can do a movement analysis. So it can basically measure your range of motion. And we can do a test within 5 minutes. So, or we can do a longer one, it takes 30 minutes. So our plan with that, and we're still in beta testing, but we're going to roll it out this year, is we want to try to have that touch as many of our customers as possible so that our customers really know where they are in their wellness journey, at any point. So, if you may, whatever your activity of choice is, you're maybe coming in for management of low back pain, in which case we want to have good rotation or good squat depth. We can test that and we can tell you what your range is on your squat. And then we can do a body work session and retest that at the end and show you hard data that, yeah, you're moving better because of this treatment, And then we come up with a plan. You can get a take-home exercise program based off of what your movement analysis was. And then you get checkups, every month or every quarter of movement checkups. So, all right, every time I come, I'm resetting to where I want to be. Or I have a goal of getting to this level of mobility that I'm not there yet, but I'm moving in that direction. Every time I do a test, I'm a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can adjust your take-home program, or we adjust your sessions based off of your improvement or lack of improvement. Maybe you're not getting closer, and now we know, okay, we got to change something.
Yep.
Because we want to get you there eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But, having a little bit more outcome-based experience with Trifecta is the goal with that.
And you guys, serve a wide range of clients / patients, right? I go, I'm a Trifecta member. I go mainly for the recovery services. I've had some great bodywork sessions there, which is, awesome. It reminds me a lot of when I played college football and, the treatment that I would get, as a D1 athlete at the time. It was nowhere near what it is today, or nowhere near what LSU is doing, or any, Power 5 program. But, it reminds me a lot of that. But you guys service the weekend warrior, you service the business person, the stay-at-home mom, you guys service college athletes, high school athletes, youth athletes. So, where am I missing anybody there? Like you guys can really service anybody, right?
Yeah. Anna likes to say it's for anybody that values movement, so anybody that's moving around and wants to feel good while you do it. But you're right. And somewhat that's a challenge for us to really define, who our customers are and who do we serve, because we can serve a lot of different people. But yeah, we have a great prenatal bodywork session that people love. We have a pillow. They can lay prone on this pillow while you're pregnant, which they don't get to do very much. So that's a very popular service, and it's a great thing to be able to serve. A lady that's carrying a baby. So that's one. We have a lot of older population that are still active. One of my favorites is an 88-year-old golfer, and he's a scratch golfer. Shout out Redfield Brian. He's amazing. He played baseball at LSU. He's 88. He had 4 hole-in-ones in 2025.
Wow.
4. 88 years old. And then the same day, we had an 8-year-old come in who's a talented golfer and just loves to work out, loves to be active and exercise. So her mom calls, is like, I know she's young, but she wants to do something and I have no idea what to tell her to do. Can you guys see her and just give her some guidance? So in the same day, we saw Coco. She's an amazing golfer, 8 years old. And then we saw Redfield, who's 88, and so, yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to service that wide range of people,
And then, obviously with the, consistent ongoing success of LSU athletes, and then those guys and girls turning pro, and then still coming back to, get the therapy from Trifecta and get the service that you guys provide. What's that really done for you guys as brand? And also what's it done for your almost proof of concept with that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, we've got a great group of athletes that we've met through LSU that keep coming back, and they're fantastic. And yeah, I think the brand I think has been great. It's been a fairly natural, I guess, thing that's built over time. It's kind of just grown organically, I guess. And a lot of that's from Anna and how she treats people and just relationship with people in the community, and how the quality of service, just caring about the service, I think has kind of helped build the brand. But yeah, to have the people like that continue to trust us with their bodies and their jobs, certainly validates that and boosts it for sure. Yeah, it's been great. We just had Dylan did a little quick podcast for us.
Wow.
Dylan Cruz, and Gavin Dugas, a bunch of the baseball guys. There was one day we had 4 Olympians in the office in the same day, which was amazing. We were like, we got to stop and appreciate this.
That's
right. Crazy. There's 4 Olympians in here, when they were getting ready for the most recent Olympics. So yeah, this is so cool to have that quality of of athlete to come through our space. Really, it's pretty cool.
And you guys at the facility, how long have you been at that facility, or wasn't there a recent expansion or something like that?
Yeah, so we moved into that particular building during COVID, so 2025, and then we expanded. Initially, we were just in the middle unit. We expanded to the right the next year, and then when I joined 4 years ago now, we expanded into the unit to the left of us. So yeah, we've been in there, but in that building since 2020. And then before that, we were, Anna had a spot on Goodwood right across the street, just kind of a quarter mile down the road. So that was started in 2014 is when she started in there.
And with the expansion of the facility now, you guys have the opportunity to offer like classes and kind of like group sessions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a goal, an area of, that we want to grow for 26. Anna does a lot of work with that. She's got a restore class that she's done for the last several years, and it's been really popular. It's not it's like a recovery class. Essentially, it's kind of a combination of a lot of our recovery services in an hour guided session. You'll use the vibration boards. You'll use the red light therapy. You'll use the PEMF therapy. You'll do some stretches. You'll do some meditation. You do some breath work. There's a little bit of massage that's worked into it. I think Anna can fit up to 10 people in a class now. But she's going to offer a few more services or more class options coming up. There's going to be more movement-based ones. Something really cool we have coming out for Valentine's Day. She's doing a couples guided class. So it's a private class for a couple. She's doing it the whole week of Valentine's Day, which is a couple, you book it. It's like a 2-hour, I believe, deal. She'll take you through a whole guided recovery circuit, sauna, massage, breath work, red lights, champagne, all the stuff. It's pretty, it sounds pretty cool. She's super excited about it. We've already got a couple signed up, but yeah, that's going to be fun. So yeah, we're trying to offer some more group work. And I do a bit of group work training for some golfers, some youth golfers, which is fun. So we're gonna create a little more space in our movement area, knock down a couple walls, so we can really build out that service and get some more people in there moving around.
And from the classes that I've seen, it seems to be a pretty good perk for like certain companies to come through, right? Like I've seen some folks bring like their executive team who maybe it's a business that's in the health industry or something that's active, whereby the people who work at a given company like that want to stay active, and it's just something else to do. Maybe it's a team building exercise or whatnot. But you guys, surprising to me, have had like some pretty good B2B relationships, right? And getting those folks in your facility. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, credit to Anna. She's built so many great relationships around town. Yeah, you're right. We've got a really cool thing. We've had a couple of different businesses bring leadership team in. One of the doctors in town brought his whole pod, his whole staff in for their Christmas party. Instead of renting out a bar or something like that, they came to Trifecta for 2 hours and did a whole guided recovery circuit with a class and soft tissue work. But yeah, for sure, we've had a few businesses come in for employee wellness. Or even just team building stuff. We can also go off-site too. We can bring our movement analysis camera off-site, bring a couple of therapists in. If it's a group, a big enough group, we can bring them to your office and really have a recovery day. We can bring the hyperbarics. We can even bring the cold plunges out there. We have some portable ones, if we need to, red light therapy. We can have a really cool, employee day, or corporate day, or corporate wellness day, either on site or off site. So yeah, that's really cool. We're hoping to kind of grow that as well in 26.
Yeah, I think, with our clientele here to Tract, especially when you look at companies or services that are typically B2C or business to customer focused, that a new level is unlocked when you can go B2B. My friend Josh Colbert, who was just in here, you just met, he actually went to Florida State as well.
Oh, cool.
And it's so crazy that, 2 in a row that we got sitting here. But he was talking about how important it is for him with his catering side, because those businesses have budgets and it's not their money that they're spending, right? So they're more open. It's an easier sell if you could just get in front of the right person. And then it's also in general one to many instead of one to one, so you're able to control your labor costs a little bit more.
Right.
And then you guys are also at different events too, right? Like, speaking of being portable, you're at Louisiana Marathon. You guys go to some of these bigger, whether it's a sports park or some sort of big race. Like, what's that look like for you guys?
Yeah, no, that's been a lot of fun. We like to do events. We really do. We like to be aware or visible in the community. So, Anna bought a tent. This thing is massive. It's a huge inflatable dome tent with some inflatable furniture. It's all yellow, Trifecta all over it. But yeah, we can set up like a vibe, like a scene.
Mm-hmm.
Music playing. We have our therapy tables set out, compression therapy, the red light mats. And yeah, we can set all that up on site. We've done a few races. We've done some tennis tournaments. There's a challenger tennis tournament coming up, which is essentially like the AAA of professional tennis. So it's just one level below, like the ATP. They're hosting an event at LSU in February next month. So we're going to set up out there. We're sending a couple of therapists to work on the professional tennis players. So yeah, events like that are great for us. We're able to kind of just be visible out in the community, but it's just fun, man. Anna does a good job of setting it up and making it an experience,
So you've kind of already touched a little bit on, the back office piece of what it takes to run a company, right? Whether it's getting the right people in the mix, having a culture that people want to come to and really maintain. And then, of course, you've got, the accounting piece, the books piece, the financial forecasting piece. And I mean, that's really one of the ways that we were able to kind of get connected on the front end. And, I'm just curious as to, like, as you guys grow as a company, has that piece of being a business owner been more challenging than you expected? And what type of, visibility do you now have that you've kind of gotten more sophisticated in that realm?
Yeah, great question. Like, hits home for sure. Our lack of business experience or even vision earlier in our careers really showed in that area. So, early on in business, we weren't as aware, of budgeting, of our books and projections really as we are now. And we really have learned a lot here in the last couple of years on being more intentional and just knowing your numbers, how important that is. Just simply we've learned that just simply tracking things seems to improve them.
Yeah.
Just by looking at them, you start to just subconsciously make better decisions. So when you're intentional about it, it really makes a huge difference. So yeah, I mean, you what you do is amazing because you can be so strategic about that service. It's not just counting the beans. You can really, it can be strategic, which opens up a lot of possibilities. And we were nowhere near aware enough of that early on in the business. So it's been great to learn a lot about that more, and we're still learning. But yeah, it's something which was a big challenge for us, for sure.
And then you've been able to, like any business, of knowing your numbers, you're more comfortable with more capital expenditures or bringing on more people in your team because ultimately based on historical trends, how productive you could be going forward and how your your costs might not necessarily change other than labor because you've already kind of covered your overhead, right? And so, I think for our clients and the people that we work with, it's very much, it's very empowering for them to, know that, okay, this data feels right. I see it now. This is just what I suspected. And then if we make these few minor tweaks, here's what's going to come of it. And I think something that you and I have both really benefited from, and you kind of nailed it earlier with Anna especially, but just the networking piece, right? And we were connected through Stuart Gilly and the Alliance, which is an amazing mastermind. I mean, I don't know how he calls it, but to me, it's just it's a collection of like-minded business owners who are looking to improve. And can you talk a little bit about your experience in the Alliance and what that's kind of done for you personally, and then also Trifecta as a company?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what a cool thing that is. So yeah, we met Stuart, kind of a cool way. There was so the golf coach at LSU, Chuck, I mentioned, he's a friend. He referred one of his buddies in who ended up being Todd Barlow. And Todd was having some shoulder pain, was a golfer, so he was kind of working. So Todd came in and he'd come back and do a different service, and he'd come back and do something else. I'm like, man, he's really checking us out, And finally he was like, hey, you guys need to meet my friend Stuart Gilly, So we got introduced to Stuart, and he started telling me about the plans, for the Alliance and this nonprofit and this community of business owners, of kind of like our size of business and just like a support system and just a legit community. So it sounded great. So yeah, we joined right away, and it's just and it's been amazing. It's been another great example of just like the people we've been able to surround ourselves with that have really just lifted us up and given us support and opened up opportunities that maybe we wouldn't have had. But yeah, the Alliance has been awesome. Like we're doing a lot of more intentional work now. We hired a marketing and community director, Taylor Bush, she's a future rock star. She's fantastic. We just hired her this year, and that was through one of Stuart's connections. And they're still working with her and building out like what our marketing strategy really looks like and how we can optimize it. We did some work. You helped me out a good bit on kind of restructuring compensation plan for our therapists to help kind of boost, so they can see like their growth within the business and improve kind of employee retention and all that stuff. So a lot of that's all been stemmed from the Alliance, and what's cool too is you can like mentor other people as well. You experience something and kind of learn from it, and somebody else is going through it too, and you can go kind of help them out as well. You're not just taking from it, you're also kind of helping other people out as well.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Allowing other people to learn vicariously through you and then you through them. Yeah. You can get the lesson without the pain if you are a good listener. Yeah. Right. And so going forward, like, obviously Trifecta to me outside looking in looks like it's just, really blossoming. You mentioned some of the adjustments that you guys are making to the facility, the additional classes. I think that you guys, from a marketing perspective, are becoming more well-known. Have you started to feel the effects of that yet? And, what do you look like in 26? Like, what are your goals here in the next year or two?
Yeah, we are starting to see some effects. We're getting more new customers kind of rolling in, but we're still in a I guess kind of building structure phase of really what our marketing is going to look like and our dashboards and tracking system for that, so we know exactly what style, how much we're getting from the events that we do. Mm-hmm. Where those are, how often those people are coming, how long do they stay, all that stuff. We're still building all that out. So, hoping by summertime and towards the end of 26, we really got a really good dashboard system where we're getting really quality data, on a consistent basis. We've built that out already for tracking, monthly finances or I guess, revenue and output of our providers. But now, we're trying to build out the marketing piece. So like what affects those numbers?
Yes.
How can we be intentional about what we're doing to affect those numbers in the way we want to? So we're still building that piece out right now.
Yeah, I like to tell my clients, and really I learned this firsthand here at Attract, is that there's really two massive machines. There's the marketing machine, and then there's the execution machine. And most people, look at the execution machine and really kind of forget about marketing. And it's like marketing's like this small little piece that feeds into execution. But as you continue to scale, I mean, we both know, as evidenced by you hiring a full-time person just for marketing, how important that is. And so even in our business right now, I mean, we're building out our HubSpot. We've got drip campaigns. Obviously this is a piece of our marketing with this podcast, and just really throwing resources at what we want a return on, right? Like we want a return on our spend. We want to know our customer acquisition costs and those types of things. Yeah. And that's something that a lot of accountants don't even really get into because it is more operational. I mean, it's still data driven, but you guys, I mean, are obviously you love data, whether it's performance data, whether it's financial data or marketing data. And so it makes sense that like you can put all of this together holistically to not only like deliver the service, but to also track the delivery of it, and then to drive interest in the service that you then deliver. Yeah. Right. So that's really just awesome to see you guys with the progression of putting first things first. And so, any closing thoughts? I'm thinking we're having this conversation. I'm like, man, I should have had Anna on as well. Yeah. I don't know. To get her. That's what I'll do. I'll have Anna separately because I'd love to hear some of this story from her perspective. Yeah, for sure. She's just such a great storyteller and a great person. And I mean, I just can't be more happy to know her and you. And so any kind of closing thoughts as it relates to that?
I got to talk about the cream. I forgot. We have our cream. Yeah. Yes. I forgot to mention it earlier. Our pain relief balm, the Trifecta Recovery Plus. That's what it's called. We've been working on this thing for like 2 years, man, to really kind of get it out. So we just got our first batch in for sale in December. So they're there now. We've had really good feedback on it. But it's a recovery balm. It's a hemp base, so there's CBD and a bunch of the isolates that come out of hemp, with some good research on pain relief and help with inflammation and recovery, general recovery from muscle aches and joint pain. We're excited to get that going. We're kind of in this little test phase, run this first version of it, but we got it out. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I've actually tried it. It's worked great for me, and I know that you guys do have like a bit of a retail piece up, whereby your clients and customers can kind of take home that stuff for at-home treatment and different tools and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, people go to the class and they're like, all right, I got to get one of these for the house. Yeah, the vibration boards, the red light mats, the massage guns. Yep. So we just started carrying all of that stuff because people are buying their own. People are buying their own sauna now, so it's cool. It's good stuff.
And so for those of you who don't know about Trifecta, for our listeners who don't know about it, you mentioned you're on Goodwood, but tell us about your hours, your social media handles, and stuff like that in closing.
Yeah, we're on Goodwood, 8221 Goodwood. It's Goodwood and East Airport, right by the library. We're Monday through Friday, 8 to 6. We do have some weekend availability for like student athletes. We have a student performance program. Josh Walker's a movement specialist, works with us, and he really works really well with our high school athletes that are either have had injuries, did PT, and are back playing, but maybe they're not quite where they want to be, or they're just looking for that recovery piece. You can come in on the weekends because it's hard for them to come obviously during the week because of school. They'll come in the weekends. Josh will see them, do some body work, use all the recovery services. You can do the movement analysis and do the take-home program of exercise and correctives as well. So there's some weekend availability for that. We got Instagram's our most, I think, active social. I guess it's at Trifecta Sports Therapy, I think. I should know that. Taylor's gonna be mad.
We'll add it in the links.
Yeah, we'll put it in the link. Yeah, so we got a TikTok now. We got the LinkedIn going and Facebook as well. So.
And a great brand too. Like, I mean, Trifecta, I always appreciated it because obviously I grew up playing sports. But, it's a lot like accounting firms. Like, you don't really think that, PT clinics or massage, and I know you're kind of a blend of both, but have, excellent branding and a name that's like, oh, Trifecta, I've heard that before. Yeah. So like, again, in closing, like, where'd that come from? And like, who kind of helped you refine the brand and the colors and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, that's, so the logo is from Anna's aunt, Bobby. She's a graphic designer. So she just came up with the logo. The name came from Anna and her friend. They were just kind of kicking around things, and her friend was like, "Yeah, how about the trifecta? Like recover, repair, restore. Like you're those are your three pillars, of service that you want to provide. It's the trifecta." So like and she ran with that. So and then Anna has always loved yellow, gray, black, but yellow is like our house in Tallahassee with yellow pillows everywhere. So that was it. That was easy. She was pretty clear on what she wanted that to be. And then the space really came out well. Like it's a pretty clean, kind of high end looking space. And credit to Anna and Kendall coming up with all that. They all kind of designed that on their own, and it really came out looking pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Cory, thanks again for being here, man. It's awesome to know you and Anna, and you get to know your staff more. I'm excited to just be really a small part of the team, but also a big fan, and I'm excited to see where you guys go from here. So thanks again for being here.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in again. Catch you on the next time of Kickin' Assets.